Hey, you guys. So I'm back again with another message from the Lord. This particular message dropped in my spirit, and I was contemplating on whether I should share it or not. Um, but then God showed me confirmations that I should share this. But like I said, this is something that He just dropped in my spirit yesterday, and I was contemplating on sharing it. Um, but I'm here to tell you, don't take others for granted. Don't take people for granted. Don't take other people for granted. When God placed someone in your life to be a blessing, that's really there for you, to love on you, to support you 100%, to be there for you through the good, bad, and the ugly. Don't take people for granted. Because when you lose people like that, it's hard for you to get those type of people back. And God doesn't like it when we take others for granted, when we take Him for granted, when we take the people that He sent as far as destiny helpers, His angels and stuff that He sent, when we take those things for granted, don't take people for granted. Because I tell you, you will regret it later. You might not regret it 2 or 3 months later, but eventually you will regret it. Because you got to understand, in the Bible it says, whatever a man soweth, he shall reap. And don't take others for granted. Especially because now we're living in a time where it's hard to find true friendship. It's hard to find true, genuine relationships that are Christ-like, that are based upon Christ. Don't take people for granted. Because I'm telling you, we are living in the end times. We are living in dark times. And when you fumble and mishandle someone that is a child of God or that was sent by God, you are telling God that you don't appreciate this person. You are showing them that you don't appreciate this person. You are showing them that pretty much that you don't care when you take people for granted, that you are selfish when you take people for granted. And just don't take people for granted, y'all. True relationships, love, friendships, partnerships are hard to find. And when you take a child of God for granted by mistreating them, by belittling them, by making them feel less than what they are, by making them second question themselves as far as, am I doing the right thing by helping you? You're going to have to deal with that. You're going to have to answer to God for that. Stop taking people for granted. And this type of for granted that I'm talking about is people intentionally doing it over and over and over again, being passively aggressive, being narcissist, being abusive. And abuse, y'all, you guys don't look, it's not always physical. Abuse can be mental too, psychological. So, stop taking people for granted. This is for you. And then I'm coming to tell you, if you feel like you are the one being taken for granted, stop letting people take you for granted. You teach people how to treat you. And you have to set healthy boundaries and standards when it comes to certain people, because people will take you for granted if you let them. People will use you to your last wit end if you let them, especially if they don't carry the spirit of a servant. Especially if they don't carry the spirit of a giver, they are always taking. And it saddens me how people are taken for granted so much, and we feel like we have to stay there. God didn't place us on this earth to be taken for granted. God didn't place us on this earth to be abused, to be manipulated, to be mistreated. All right, that's a very, very religious spirit, and that spirit is not of God. Okay, so Don't take other people for granted, and then don't let people take you for granted. Okay. So just wanted to come and share what God had dropped in my spirit. Y'all, life is too short. And when you lose something, it's hard to get that thing back. And when you mishandle what God blessed you with, you're going to have to answer to God about why you mishandled what he had blessed you with, why you rejected a person that he has sent to help you, a destiny helper. All right. So be very careful in this season, in this hour, how you are treating people, because it will come back. It will come back and haunt you in the worst way. Um, Thank you, Holy Spirit. And that's why we're seeing now, where you guys might be seeing now, where a whole lot of people that did do wrong are trying to come back, because it's haunting them in the worst way. Some of them, it's haunting them in the worst way. And some of them, they realize that they took you for granted, but they can't come back because they did it over and over and over again. After they told you that they were going to change, but they did it over and over and over again. Everybody has their breaking point. Everybody has their breaking point. And so what I'm saying is to you, whoever this message is for, don't take people for granted, especially if you know you are intentionally doing this. Don't take people for granted, because some people are only once in a lifetime. And if you show God that you are mishandling the people that he is sent to your life to be a blessing to you, that opportunity for you to get another experience with another person like that probably will never come, because you done show God over and over and over again how selfish you were. You done show God over and over and over again how you don't walk into the spirit of love, and how you don't love one another like God tells us to love one another. And so again, stop taking people for granted. And whoever this is for, if you're listening, if you feel like you're being taken for granted, stop letting people take you for granted. Set healthy boundaries and standards with people. All right? Because you matter. So I love you guys. I pray that you all have an amazing day, and I will chat with you all later.